When the call come from Doherty County 911 that particular day, I just knew that we would actually be doing a search and recovery instead of a search and rescue.
The weather for the previous 3 days had been nothing but rain, so we just thought, oh, it's gorgeous outside, and we'll jump in our boat and go down Lake Cheehaw and see all of the beautiful nature that's here in our area.
Kelly Merritt and her family were enjoying a spring afternoon on the lakeside of the Georgia Power Dam. They didn't realize that the open gates of the dam were creating a dangerous undertow.
The water was very calm on top. Our boat was being pulled without us knowing that it was being pulled.
The closer they got to the dam, the greater the undertow, which now began sweeping the boat toward the concrete wall near the spillway.
It was just sucking the boat faster and faster. We had lost control of the boat. The motor did not seem to matter anymore. The boat just smashed into the concrete wall and just dragged down the side of it. I prayed to God, and it was a horrifying feeling, like frozen panic. All of a sudden, my son decided to jump out of the boat, and he was swimming as hard as he could, but I watched him get sucked underneath the boat. And then I put my arms around my daughter, who was sitting right in front of me.
As the boat was sucked through the wall, the water forced her daughter, Mazay, from her arms.
There are no words to describe the feeling of her being ripped away from my arms. It was very much like I was already dead.
Kelly was sure she would never see her family again.
The force of this water was so strong. I felt concrete and slime, and I dropped for what felt like an eternity. I reached up and I could feel the carpet on the bottom of the boat, and then behind me I could feel the concrete. I was pinned there, and it was a horrifying feeling.
Kelly began to accept the fact that she may die.
I was having a conversation with God at that point, and I was telling him, in essence, thank you for all that I had had. I knew in my heart that I wanted more, but I didn't want more if my children weren't going to be with me, if my husband wasn't going to be with me. I said, Jesus, I need you to walk on water right now. I felt it literally like I don't need an ambulance, I don't need a helicopter, I don't need a life flight. I need a miracle worker. I need Jesus.
Just as Kelly could hold her breath no longer, the boat rolled over, freeing her.
I then was pulled towards the surface.
Kelly began swimming against the swift current, trying to get to shore.
Then I saw my son's head. And just a second or more after I saw the back of my husband's head, it was life, it was hope.
Whenever I went over, I didn't know where the rest of my family was, and then I had like my dad grab a hold of the back of me, and at that point I felt like almost like it gave me a hope to keep trying to swim and keep trying to get up.
But there was still no sign of Mazay.
I was just screaming, where is my daughter? Basically, my husband and my son started running down the bank of the river. They were hollering back, she's not here. I just laid in the sand on the side of the river, and I was just screaming, I need my child.
I thought at that moment that we'd lost her, and then I heard someone yell, we found her. We have her.
Once torn from her mother, Mazay had dropped down the wall also and found herself alone in the river on the other side.
Suddenly, a man walked up to where I was laying on the ground, and he said, ma'am, I think we have your daughter. And he had on a green t-shirt. It said John 3:16. I started following him. All of a sudden, she was just there in the path. I couldn't see even a scratch on her. Indescribable. It's indescribable.
At that moment, that's when I realized that we had experienced a miracle, and we made it. We survived.
I felt like another person was holding on to me, but there was no one around me when I came up, and I knew that it had to be God because there was no one else around.
You know, it was nothing short of God's mercy and 4 miracles performed that day for this entire family.
The Merritt family drove home with no serious injuries. And while they never saw the man in the John 3:16 t-shirt again, they are grateful for his part in God's protection that day.
I almost felt like he was an angel. But he had the biggest, prettiest smile. And that smile just, you know, came with a sense of peace. You wouldn't have thought that he would have, you know, been the one to give you reassurance that everything's okay, but he did.
About a year later, we were sitting in church, and our pastor led us to read Isaiah 43:2, and it said, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and the rivers will not overflow you." And in that moment, I knew that God had given our family a Bible verse that was just for us, it was ours. Jesus had truly been with us. He was truly walking on water for us in those moments. He was with us.
Right now, I believe that we are for a living miracle.